assuming everything wants to work right tonight. We are live and here on a wonderful day trying to talk sense into the trucking industry. Let me ask you a question, guys. Do you honestly put any faith in media when it comes to what's going on with the trucking industry? Do you guys really listen to what it is they have to say? Because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And with information swirling, with misinformation swirling in Hurricane Helene's wake and the abundance of other accounts from the ports getting back to work, how are these stories really affecting you? Well, tonight we're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into a few other issues that I see as abundantly important and things you need to know about when it comes to news. Do you rely on the news media? Or have you found a new place to get your information and make it count? Well, we're going to try and convince you that the right place to go is Truckin Frontlines. Broadcasting from inside Truckin City Mobile Studios normally, but today we are in the headquarters. Yes, we are home for once in 6 months, weeks, whatever. We are located here in North Carolina. We are at Ground Zero, the one place everybody's been talking about for the last week. We are talking about hurricane relief efforts. We are letting you know what we're hearing. It's all been secondhand, but I've been here. I've been on the ground all day talking with people that are actually in Ground Zero, actually doing the job. So I'm going to give you some of their perspectives. And in that, you know, I don't mean to pick on it, but yeah, we're having a lot of fun. We are trying to become the leading source for trustable and reliable news and information, right alongside opinion, independent from what you see in the news media. Okay, I am single-handedly pointing out that despite what the news feeds you, you can, in your own way, make trucking great again. I'm doing this with the help of many friends, you in the audience, and a skill granted by God himself to help you be restored in the fact that there are people out there that know how to do broadcasting the right way. We've got a way for you to contact us. We ask you to be part of the audience, part of the problem solving equation, not the problem itself. You do that by calling our studio line, which I'll publish here in just a minute. Leave a comment or just be part of the ever-growing audience of people, 205 and climbing, that like to be part of the growing audience of frontline contributors that make today's show possible.
Shall we begin?
YouTube's most unique news show has begun. The fastest growing YouTube channel, Truckin City News.
And I am gonna beat him.
The president telling Justin Trudeau to get tough.
There was no information online.
And the El-Rushbo of Truckin News, Boss Man. (860-785-3547) is the line you can use to contact me. Email your stories, your thoughts, your concerns to thatstruckinnews@outlook.com. We are here week after week, day after day, with both live shows and videos, trying to give you the honest perspective on what it's like in the trucking world, giving you on-the-ground perspective of not only things like trucking strikes, trucking protests, but hurricanes, events, good rates, good loads, bad loads, you name it. We are putting it here for you. And it's not just me doing this. I have a qualified, and I do mean very qualified, panel of people with over 150. I see right here. I have 100. I'm going to update this because this is way behind that. 150 years worth of experience combined with everything going on. People, we have a panel here of people that know their stuff. They want to do nothing but help you. So it's in your best interest, if you have time and you're watching this program right now, go down below, subscribe, like the program. Please send YouTube the right signals. I'm looking to grow. I'm looking to become something no one else has. I want to become a show that you guys can readily rely on to understand what trucking's about, what's going on, and how to make the best out of the world in front of you. You can call our studio, 860-785-3547. Email our show. Let us know your thoughts on stories. Give us your perspective. Either way, we are here for you. We are a show built by truckers, for truckers, and it is my pleasure to bring to you a wide panel of people that absolutely know how to get the job done. I'm going to bring up two of the most principal individuals that make this show what they are today. Driving with John, Grumpy Trucker. We guys, the three of us started this out the way it belongs and the way it is. Tell me, I mean, you guys, do you have a perspective on trucking that you feel everyone else needs to know about, that you could not otherwise tell everybody, but feel it necessary to put out on this show? John, what's your thought?
Life is very serious, but you gotta learn to laugh once in a while. I mean, a great example is Babyface over here. Looks like he lost all of his hair. I mean, are we sure he's even a trucker, or did he just get born the other day?
I was beginning to wonder if
funny.
there's a convoy lookalike contest going on here. You know, he's trying to do that whole Chris Christopherson thing. Come on, Grumpy. Come on, grow a sack. Come on, get some hair on that face of yours.
I just shaved it off last night.
Yeah, it's either that or it's Kojak. I don't know what it is. I mean, do you know? Can you figure it out? But John, you make a good point. If you can't laugh about it, what the hell can you do, right?
Yeah, that's like my purpose on YouTube is try to make people laugh, have some fun, and also let people know that, trucking is more than just big mean trucks driving down the road. We're a people also.
Exactly. We're starting off early. We've already got somebody on the line wanting to talk to us. So let's invite somebody. As soon as I get the mic set up here, let's invite somebody in on our studio line calling in. How are you doing, caller? How are things today with you?
Oh, I'm doing quite wonderful. I've actually seen your guys' live show about the port shutting down. I'm actually best friends with Sean, one of the other guys that's on your guys' panel.
Sean, okay.
I don't know his name on here. The skinny guy, the one that's up there in North Dakota.
Oh, you're talking about Thumper. About Thumper. That's
Thumper.
Yep. Yeah. Well, let me bring him on because he is currently backstage with us. And let me see about putting it up here. Thumper and Bo, he's there right here. So you got a name and a location you're calling us from there, caller?
TJ Vermontes. I'm the one who commented a bunch of stuff in you guys' last debate that you guys had. And right now I'm currently in Missouri on my way to North Dakota.
All righty. Well, we're glad you called in. We are certainly looking for people to contribute. Tonight's discussion was about more the hurricane relief and port strikes. I don't know. If you've got an opinion, you're welcome to opine on that if you'd like.
All right.
I mean, we're talking quite a bit about basically misinformation around the ports. Or not misinformation around hurricane relief. That's our first story, because there's a lot of it going around about, what's going on with hurricane relief getting to Asheville and Western North Carolina. I don't know if you've heard or read anything about that, but the other thing.
Yes, I have actually.
Yeah. What do you know, and what do you feel is necessary to straighten out? Ain't got anything to offer?
Nothing as of right now. I mean, I know that as truck drivers are about to be on like a crisis emergency kind of watch for all the people out there, because hurricanes like to destroy a lot of places. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be taking a lot of building materials, water, supplies down there to those people.
Right. Yeah. Well, anybody that can offer that kind of stuff, hopefully I'll leave them with a little bit of something positive tonight. Because that's really my main goal. I mean, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I have a little bit of perspective from someone that's been there. They're close to me, and I'll let you guys know firsthand what's said there. Of course, there's a lot of press going on about other bigger names, like Dolly Parton and others. But, aside from that, there's a lot of misinformation. So I want to make sure people understand exactly what is really going on. So that's kind of part of my hope tonight. So, I was certainly welcoming anything you knew, and certainly, if you learn anything after you hang up with us, certainly don't hesitate to send it to our email address.
Right. I know Thumper said he was trying to get me on to your guys' panel because I know a lot. I'm a truck driver myself.
Yeah, certainly. Well, we welcome any expertise. I mean, as a rule, I normally have 6 people on every panel. So I always have, I run with StreamYard, so I have 10 available slots. So you're certainly welcome to fill it anytime. The StreamYard link is always down below in the description. Plus, I always pin it to the top of the chat. So there's always a StreamYard link. You can always add yourself, just like the Thumper is right now. You can always add yourself to the panel.
Okay.
So we certainly welcome any expertise you have.
Okay. So I just hit that link right there and I just jump in.
Certainly do.
All right.
Yeah. In fact, we've got one waiting as of right now. So with all due respect, my friend, I appreciate your phone call and your contribution to the show. We're going to get on with the show and introduce our new guests.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, Godspeed, and keep her rolling. We are certainly going to keep things rolling here.
Awesome,
one of the things that I think is really pivotal in broadcasting is definitely feeding you guys the right information. And trust me, there's a lot of bad information out there, and we're certainly getting a lot of that. And to those waiting in the background or backstage, I will get back to you. Give me just a few moments. I want to make sure that everybody is as up to date as can be when it comes to what's currently going on in the North Carolina area, because there have been many accounts of people feeding us BS. And I really don't like that. I mean, I think it's unnecessary, and I think it's uncalled for. So when it comes down to it, I think I owe it to everybody. One of the things I want to talk to you about tonight is basically a with all respect to Thumper, he made it known to me at the conclusion of last week's show that I'd forgotten a segment. And I did intend on updating I think it was Saturday, on the show that we did, just on the current on-the-ground events taking place at the time. So let me play that clip and we'll go from there.
From many of those drivers really traveling along this route, and many of them tell me that they had to plan to reroute their travel over the last couple of days. One man even brought out an atlas just because he said his GPS couldn't get him to where he was trying to go.
Roadways covered in mud and debris. Others collapsed and closed off to traffic.
Things like that, you can bring commerce to a standstill real quick.
I got to head over to Tar Heel to pick up a load of meat going back to Indiana,
and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of here.
Drivers coming from across the country say it's been a challenge, working with delays, reroutes, some even spending a couple nights at a standstill. The North Carolina Department of Transportation continues to warn drivers of countless road closures not to travel in the western part of the state.
Definitely a problem. A lot of people given a lot of misinformation when it comes to just initial reports. And I reached out today before starting this show and wanted to kind of acquire a sense of what was going on the ground. And I am not going to elaborate on the exact source of who I found this information from. I will tell you with all certainty that the source I'm giving you this from is very credible. Okay, they're part of the emergency response in the area as a whole. I'm not going to say who from or where it's to. All it's necessary to say is that misinformation is part of the internet culture. And when it comes down to it, there's two main contributors to this culture. One is the main news media. Now, I'm staring right now at an article that talks about, from CNN's perspective, different viewpoints politically on what this one did and what that one did. Nowhere in this article, and I will post it below in the description so you guys can view it on your own. I don't want to be the barter of information that just makes things worse. You guys can see the source for yourself. But they go right and left as to who did what, who said what, who did what first, who did what. All of that's nonsense. But then there's problem two. And problem two comes with the fact that there are those in the media that go the actual mile and actual effort to elicit information that's accurate. But then there are those that receive that same information. And guess what they do with it? They don't take it seriously. And I've been in that response. I've been in that set before. Okay. I went through Hurricane Fran. All right. I lived in Monkey Junction. If you guys know anything about southeastern North Carolina, Monkey Junction is an area that's between Carolina Beach and Wilmington. Okay. Prone to flooding. I went through Hurricane Fran in that very same area. Now, luckily, nothing happened to me, but the news media was abuzz with, you got to get out. You got to get out. And there were even people still on Carolina Beach that were sitting there thinking, this won't be a big deal. Category 4 storm hitting you. And you're, oh, this is no big deal. Now, I'm not trying to minimize anything, okay? Because the people in Asheville, in Henderson, and on the west end of the state really probably had no idea what was coming. Most of everything that happened was already south of them and it was approaching. And they probably thought, what can happen? And historically, nothing does. But that one time when the news media says, do, they do nothing. And now all of a sudden, we're left helping them out. Now, I'm not faulting them. But in a large part, what I'm saying is, the people I was speaking to today have a lot of blame placed on some of the media who doesn't really put enough emphasis behind every single event that happens. And then when one does, and then we get stuff like what's happened now, we're all of a sudden like, why didn't we listen? I mean, it's, Trump is actually accusing the Biden administration in one way. And then the Biden administration is coming back on them. And it's like, wait a minute, whoa, hold the phone a second. Wait a minute, time out. It's not about this guy and that guy. It's about what has historically happened all the way up to now. Everybody has the same routine. Everybody does the same thing. And now all of a sudden, complacency hits the deck. And now what are we doing? We're sitting here pointing fingers. So now, my question to you in the audience, What do we do with this? What do we do with all this misinformation that goes on, and how do we best handle it? Let me know. Call us up, 860-785-3547. Let us know in the comments. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But I want to bring the panel up because I want to hear what you guys think. I'm going to start with, as soon as my pointer finds him, Driving with John. What do you think? Do you think there's a lot of misinformation associated with the goings on with all the stuff happening in and around the hurricanes, or do you think it's just part and parcel what normally happens? What do you think?
There always is. I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, there always is. There's always a slant to benefit whoever they want to slant it to, politically, socially, monetarily. Um, but if you really want to know what's going on, there's plenty of good organizations out there to have reliable information that are actually on the ground helping. So.
Well, that's one of the things I was hoping to uncover tonight, because I'll tell you, one of the things that the source I spoke to, and again, they're very close to me, they're very upfront and very aware, and they were actually on the ground for the last week in the Asheville area. They know exactly what's going on. And I'll give you, before we close this segment, his thoughts on the best way to get things to the area. Because I have news reports in front of me about a trucking outfit in Texas, of all things. God bless them. A trucking outfit in Texas mounting up and bringing things all the way from Texas to Asheville. I'm trying to look up the information as we're speaking. While families find solace in the middle of devastation, Brandy Stevens, owner of Stevens Truck Center, lending a helping hand. He said he was a client in North Carolina who became a friend, and together they're looking to meet up and hand out supplies. Well, my hat goes off to him, them, her, whoever it is. I hope they can actually land some sources, figure out where to go, because these people need help. And you know what? One of the sources I've found out and I've heard from, there's too much food. People, stop sending food. We don't need food in Western North Carolina. What we need are supplies like blankets, water, yes, that's fine. We need other tangible things like tents, things that help us get by day to day. Food, we've got too much of already. This coming from the source on the ground. So if you've got things that will help people in Western North Carolina, don't send food. They've got more than enough. And the Red Cross and those sources that are on the ground, they already know they have enough there. They can send what they need wherever they need it. So if you've got things like batteries, generators, whatever, there are people to contact, and we'll talk about in a minute who you contact. Fate, do you know anything about that? Do you have any people that are close by? Anybody that you know of that maybe need help, or anyone you want to draw attention to?
No, I don't know anybody that's affected by the hurricane.
You know anybody that wants to donate or maybe be part of the cause to maybe help out in West North Carolina?
I have not really talked to anybody about the hurricane. Just I talked to Driving with John because I knew he lived in an area where there was potential for a hurricane, and my buddy lives in Jacksonville, Florida, and I talked to him. Other than that, I haven't talked to anybody about the hurricane or anything like that.
Yeah.
Poet's got something to say.
Okay. Go ahead, Poet. You got something to add? I want to hear it.
Yeah. Misinformation. Maybe I'm wrong. But this morning I saw the governor of North Carolina in a video clip saying that.
I have nothing to say on it. I mean,
saying that
I have nobody close by that can donate nothing, not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring PJ up when we got time for him. If you're in the backstage or anywhere on the panel, make sure you mute yourself until I actually address you, because I want to make sure you're not bleeding over people.
Okay.
Go ahead, Paul.
So I saw a video clip on Fox News this morning where the governor of North Carolina said, we don't care what you got, turn around and go away. And at the same time, FEMA, okay, is not quite doing their part either, although I'm not sure if that's correct. So is that misinformation? I haven't shared it because
Well, let me clear up what you're saying is quote misinformation and what actually is just pure confusion. Okay, because from the source I talked to, what's really going on is that there's too many Indians and not enough underneath. The too many chiefs, not enough Indians. That's what's going on.
exactly. Yep.
You have one outfit, and that's one outfit. Usually the best is FEMA or the Red Cross. Those are the two that respond in hurricane disasters.
Okay.
Those two have enough work to do, okay? One is government, the other one's independent. Those two have their hands full when it comes to dispersing supplies. Now, what normally happens is you get these independents, and everybody on the panel can probably vouch to hearing the stories of, these independent helicopters and these independent people driving and these independent people muling and whatever. Okay. I mean, there's been hundreds of those reports all over social media, and everybody's got their part to say no one's in control. Well, that's BS because there are people in control. You just got to know who to call and where to go. And part and parcel to what I'm going to recommend here in a minute. Here's the thing. FEMA only has just so many people on the ground. The Red Cross only have just so many people on the ground. There's only so many things they can logistically handle at any one point in time. So when you, as an individual, call someone representing a police department or a FEMA organization or whatever, and you ask one specific question, they're going to be like deer in the headlights. They're not going to know the answer to that question. However, there are places you can call and there are things you can do circumventing that and forgetting those people already overburdened with the work they need, where you can get what you need done and serve a purpose, and you don't have to deal with that deer in the headlights crap.
I agree.
I'm going to tell you exactly where to go on that.
But
go ahead,
Paul. Those numbers are not being publicized.
Well, and they won't be, but I'm going to tell you how to figure that out. So stand by, stand firm on that. Anybody else on the panel currently on have anything to offer? And I've got everyone off backstage. If you've got something to offer, if you want to offer some good information, let the panel or let the audience know where to go. Something I haven't let, please be. Here's your chance.
I just posted a link down in the comment section. It goes to a Christian organization, and they specialize in going to natural disasters all over the world. So if you want to help, that's a good organization. I know the guy that runs it. He's an upstanding guy, and he'll make sure that the right people get the right response, the right amount of help. So
good enough.
That organization was started after Katrina, so it's been around for a while.
Good to hear. I want to recognize Truckin is Dead member for a month. I'm assuming that's on your channel, John. $1.99 membership.
Yes.
Thank you for doing so. Again, that's independent of what we're talking about tonight, so not to be misconstrued. But I do want to recognize when people do things like that. Good job, made a good choice there. I'm going through comments because I want to make sure if there's something in the comments people need to know. I want to make sure people are aware of it. Go ahead, Grump.
Yeah, I want to add to it. I believe I shared the link to you whenever I seen it. This gentleman that has a trucking outfit, I can't remember exactly what state he's out of, but he was actually, him and his whole fleet basically started hauling these emergency disaster relief portable trailers for people to live in out that direction. So hopefully, I mean, I didn't know if you wanted to mention that or not, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Okay. I'm assuming this link I just published on the channel, John, is the one you're talking about, the efca.org.
Yeah, I published it too. So if you did it, then both you and I did. Yeah. Oh no, I published it on all three channels. I already did. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I've seen it on all three. So I just thought I'd put it on the screen so if people want to help, they can go to this give.efca.org, Projects Hurricane Helene Response. So good link. That's a good place to start. Keep going, Grumpy. I didn't want to cut you off.
I was pretty much done there. I just wanted to, bring that up because I believe I shared that actually with our little inside group. It was a link to this gentleman's YouTube page, and he basically was describing how him and his fleet were going in up there and picking up these. They're not really for living in forever, but they're short lived where you got space in there to at least have a restroom and probably a shower or something in there, and a place to keep your food, But I thought that was pretty neat, and I wanted to share that. So
it's better temporary relief than no relief.
Exactly.
They're like oil field houses, okay, like a trailer with several different rooms, a communal shower. Yeah, we have those up here too.
Right. Want to recognize two new faces in our crowd. Brother Howdy 941. God bless you. You're on with us here on Truckin City Frontline. Also, PJ Vera, who left comments on our last live. How are you guys doing? You guys are both live. If you want to spice up and say something about today's topic, you're welcome to it, my friends.
Larry's got something, and I got something also.
My bad.
Yep. Now, it doesn't look like PJ Vera is ready, so I'm going to put him back in just a moment. And Brother Howdy's also probably not ready either. You said Thumper Larry had something?
Yep, he keeps raising his
hand.
Yeah,
go ahead, Larry. Go ahead.
I just want to say that if you don't need to be there, don't go there.
That was actually where I was just going to go. Thanks for stealing my thunder there, punk. No, I'll give it to you, man. Yeah, good point.
Too many people are clout chasing right now, and they just need to stay out of the way because they're becoming more of a problem than they are trying to help.
Yes, that is a good point. That is one of the points the source on the ground told me. It was a major problem. I even noticed it after Hurricane Fran because, that was a Category 4 storm. It made landfall between Wrightsville and Carolina Beaches. And I rode the storm out. I actually left Wilmington to go ride it out with my mother in Raleigh, of all places. But I had to go back because I had a place right there in Wilmington, right there in the junction. And just getting back, I noticed all these looky-loos with the cameras. Even back then, they had freaking cell phones and cameras. It was crazy back then. Today it's 10 times worse because back then cell phones were in their infancy, but still, it was ridiculous. Everybody wanted to get their 15 seconds of fame. It's ridiculous. It's dangerous, and it does nothing but get in the way of honest people who are trying to help others. So, good point, Larry. Good point. I'm thanking you for bringing that up. Who else?
I don't mean.
No, go ahead, John. No.
I was going to say, I don't mean to crack jokes in the middle of this serious conversation, but does Larry the trucker have wooden cabinets in his truck?
Yes, I do.
That's the first time you've seen that, John?
Yes.
Come on now. I've seen him plenty of shots before.
But to be fair, he's not in his pink and purple truck. He's in a
I have them in. They're in every truck.
Oh, are they in every truck?
Yeah, they're in every truck. I was going to say they were in his other one too. Did you have something to offer, Thumper?
Yes, but it's not about it's natural disaster, but it's not about the hurricane.
Okay. Well, by all means, offer it. The platform is for you guys.
I just got a text here. The Kane family is in need of semis. They need 15 semis to haul their cattle off the mountain in Wyoming at the Elk Fire. I have their call information and stuff right here on my phone. I don't know how we want to get that out or anything like that, but it's at the shared.
If you can copy and paste it, Thumper, in the comments, I'll certainly make it available, and it will be available thereafter. So anything in the comments, paste it. So
and then I just found this out actually a couple hours ago. North Dakota's having wildfires too. Out of all places, North Dakota, Western North Dakota. There was a farming accident, and it sparked a really big fire up in Ray, North Dakota also. So, just to make people aware, it's not just the hurricanes over there are having issues. We got Wyoming, North Dakota. There's a bunch of other places that are on fire too that also need help. Also, just donations or as in this space, the Kane family in Sheridan, Wyoming, they need trucks to get their cattle off the property too.
Yeah.
So that's all I had. So I just got a text like as the show was starting. I just wanted to make people aware of that too.
Yeah. Well, by all means, when you're able to, definitely go into the comment section, Thumper, and put the link in that, and certainly let anybody in the chat know what's going on with that. If they want to help, then you can provide the link to give them a place to do that. Just information that I've collected and things just so you know, before we move on to other topics. 223 people as of now have suffered the ultimate fate as a result of the hurricane and the destruction that's come from it. All right, more than a week has gone by. Communities remained isolated. Hundreds of thousands are without power. Power is being restored, but from what I'm hearing from the source on the ground, power isn't the problem. Water is the biggest problem. Water will be almost next year before it's restored.
Wow.
Things were decimated water-wise, okay? Pipes, mains, pumps, you name it. Things were just destroyed. That is going to be, according to them, one of the biggest and most complicated problems to restore. So if you've got access to any supplies that relate to that, that's why I said earlier, water would be a good thing. If you'd like to help donate to survivors, several organizations, including the Red Cross and national voluntary organizations active in disaster, are seeking assistance from the public. I have a link which I will make public as soon as the live goes off from NBC News and a couple of other links as well. I'm not going to publicize them here, but I will make those links available if you want to help. But here's the thing. If you want to help, here's the best way to do things. Don't take it upon yourself to go there and just wildly look and find someone. Worst thing you can do. You become part of the problem when you go there blindly without even so much of an idea what to do. The best thing to do is contact local churches and food banks. That's how you make a difference. Red Cross is overburdened. They have too much going on. They could care less what you have to offer. They could, but they can't. And these other organizations related to FEMA, they're overburdened as it is. They've got just enough staff to get done what they need to do. Don't become an added part of the burden. Go the extra mile. Look up local churches and local food banks in the area that you want to help. That's how you make a difference. You can do more with a local food bank or church than you'll ever do with one of the outfits like the Red Cross or FEMA. You guys got anything else to add before I move on? All right, having said that, I am going to move on to spot number 2, where we're going to talk about something as equally energetic as what we've been talking about tonight. So hang tight, my friends. It gets good from here. Something equally as charged.
Solidarity with our port workers. All right, truck drivers, the time is now for us to come together and go on strike as well.
A truck driver perspective, this would be a perfect time to go along with the strike.
Can our fellow truckers get a raise with the port strike? We need to be talking to the American Truck Association, our brokers, and our companies.
You would think what you just witnessed was all during the ILA strike? No, it ain't. No, it ain't. This stuff actually comes from a source of people that aren't done. They want to make things even more charged and more, shall we say, aggravating. They're not done with just the ILA. They want to make it even more political. They want to make it even more of a pain in the butt for us. They want to go that extra mile, go beyond what the ILA ports have done. John, what do you know about this? I mean, obviously, I pulled that off of your Facebook. So, what do you know about this group of people that aren't satisfied with what the ILA port strike did? They want to take it a step further. What do you know?
Basically, I was scrolling through TikTok, and I got 6 different truckers all spouting off that they wanted to go on strike. And it kind of keyed me a little bit, so I made that little short. And so there you have it. You go check it out if you want to see it. Guys, I'm not feeling real well, so I'm checking out for the night. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, John, we thank you for joining us. I appreciate you doing what you do. And we'll take your story in a moment. I thank you very much for joining us. Feel better, my friend.
Take care, John. Get to feeling better.
Everything.
Faye, be nice. Now, come on.
I hope he feels better.
Yeah, so we all do. I mean, I'm of the opinion that, you know what, the strike is over with. They got what they wanted. They won. They didn't get everything they wanted, but you know what? Let's move on and make life better. Let's make trucking great again. How the heck can people do that when, you know what, what's given them wasn't good enough? What does it take? What does it take to make a person satisfied? Do you want the golden ticket? Do you want, $3.50 a mile? What is it you're looking for? I mean, what do you think, guys? What do you think they want? I mean, do you think it's just, I can guess all day long, but what do you think it's all about?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one first, if you don't mind.
Hey, man, go.
You know, everybody's wanting more money, but what are they gonna do? Pull it out of their hats? Because I mean, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, yeah, we all need a little bit extra money than what we're getting already, but you know, we don't have all these I call crybaby unions that are going to represent us unless you are part of one. So,
do we necessarily need a union?
No, but going on this,
what good is union
going on a strike like those guys are talking about, what's that going to solve too? You know, they're thinking of themselves and not thinking about how we are the ones out here working to deliver the goods for others. You know, and I don't like that. Don't think of just yourself. Quit being greedy.
And that's what it is greed. Pure, unadulterated greed.
Yep. Let me read a quote from a story out of a South Carolina publication. The fact that the freight rates are so low and the ILA shutdown had impact on what was already a tight situation. And that situation is now tighter. Okay. We appreciate the ILA for taking their stand. So now we've decided to take a stand and ask the brokers and the carriers to do their part and help drivers increase their pay as well. What is it they're looking for that they can't already provide themselves? When it comes to running a trucking business, have they not thought of the broader implications about, well, maybe if they're not asked, or maybe if the carriers and brokers aren't paying them the $2 a mile rate they're asking for, what is it they're not doing to get that? Is it all them, or can there be some accountability the other direction?
I think it's, I think it's on all sides.
Well, I'm gonna point this one. I'm gonna put you on the hot seat here, Faith. You're always one for self accountability. You know, if you, as an individual running a business, want to have an expectation for, let's say, hypothetically, $2 a mile, what are you doing? You know, and all these people are talking about, well, let's strike, let's do this, let's do that. Well, okay, that's all great at the end of the day, but what are you doing to earn the respect of that $2 a mile rate you're asking for? You know, I mean, what sense does all this strike crap make? It doesn't make any, because it doesn't seem like the person on the other end of that video is actually doing anything any different other than bitching about something that's not going to change unless they change. What say you?
So I'm a big believer in controlling your controllables, right? Like, as a small business owner, everybody should mute their mic. This is what I was talking about. Like, we have like coughing and stuff.
Yeah. Please do.
What I was getting at was, as an independent contractor, I book loads based on what works for me, right? If it doesn't work for me, I don't haul the freight. Now, I can't speak for like somebody that's a company driver that might feel like they're getting taken advantage of, and instead of striking, like, go out and get what you're worth. Like, not to steal just trucking's line, but it's the truth. Like, leave. Like, nobody's forcing you to drive that truck. Go and find something else that works. This idea of all truckers banding together and striking all at once is absolutely asinine, because nobody is going to convince me to turn my truck off and not generate money.
Right.
Nobody's going to convince me to do
if
that.
you can see this, I probably can't zoom in enough, but what I'm looking at right now is a underneath that black thing where it says invitation, free to, it says we're trying to get what we deserve. Well, what the hell is that? I mean, think about it. What is it these people think they deserve on this whole strike thing that makes what they're doing worth it? It's gonna, as John pointed out earlier, all it's gonna do is make us look like the terrorists we really are and serve no one in the end.
So I was in the union for 13 and a half years. I get why unions exist, right? I'm not a fan of the union. I hope I never am in a union ever again. But like, what you might want, boss man, is different than what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're never going to be on the same page. You know what I mean? And I don't think anybody is ever on the same page. If you follow my channel at all, you have never heard me complain about the freight market. Has it been slow? It's been slow, yes. And I've said that, hey, there's no freight in this area. That's not complaining. That's stating a fact.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
I can honestly say I haven't hauled any cheap freight, because the freight that I haul works for me and my business. I haven't hauled cheap freight. I don't know what this cheap freight thing is.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, see, and that's why I started off with you, because I know you've already set up a model for yourself that works for you. Now, if others like you, or not like you, excuse me, let me start over. If others in the industry would model that behavior that you just talked about, I think there'd be a lot less of this. And by this, and I'm pointing at my computer screen in front of me, which has the story we're talking about, it makes no sense that you choose to get into a business that's so volatile and so ever-changing as trucking is, and then you lose control of the environment around you to the degree that you sit there and blame others for your problem. You have the capacity to see what's coming. And you have the capacity, just like you, Faith, to see enough to make the changes necessary to make it work for you. Yet they constantly don't. And then they sit there and blame others for their problems by doing this very thing. I think it's ridiculous.
Even if
I really do.
Even if
Go ahead,
you
Paul.
can't see it coming. Okay. So, yes, I tried to start my own business when I was 21 with a truck. When I was 50, I started another business that I was quite successful with, and it thrived. However, coming back to trucking, if you don't like it where you are, like Fate says, leave.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's just that simple. You just got to make your mind up and do it the right way. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
having a national trucker strike. Well, I remember the trucker strike in the 70s and 80s. Drivers were shooting at other drivers, killing them. Okay,
Yeah.
because they were company drivers, they couldn't shut down. Okay, so maybe could have shut down.
Mhm.
Who knows? But
Who
in
wants to
the
take a
end,
stab at Cassie's question? How do you think strikes will affect rates? Well, I don't think they're going to affect them negatively. That's for darn sure.
apparently
Does
not.
anybody want to take a stab at that?
They're not gonna change. Okay, for the worse because of the strike. And if they're gonna get any better, it'll be a minuscule amount of cents per mile or cents per 1,000 pounds or cents per trailer load. It's not going to make a difference because
Anybody else want to offer their opinion?
Go ahead, Little John.
Larry, go ahead, man. What think?
Strike? The strike's already over. Go back to work.
And do you think what's happened is going to affect rates at all? I mean, think about it. Anytime there's any kind of backlog that holds back rate, there is an effect, isn't there? I think that's the point that Cassie's
It's going to just take more trucks to move that freight. That's all it's going to do. Get your butt in there and go to work. Quit bitching about it and go to work.
Well, I don't think that's the point she's trying to make. If I'm assuming Cassie to be a female, I think the point you're making is anytime a strike occurs, there's always an effect of one kind or another in what happens in our daily lives. Now, whether that's rates or whether that's capacity, there's an effect one way or the other. We've got a caller on the line. Let's say hello to them. Caller, Give us your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, I'm a regular. It's Chris. How's everybody doing?
We're doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm at home right now. But I just thought I'd put my 2 cents in. What I consider low rates is, okay, if I do 500 miles, yeah, it's $2 a mile. But if I'm sitting on it for 3 days, I'm not really paid a whole lot for sitting on the freight because it doesn't deliver for another 2 or 3 days.
Well, how often do you find yourself taking those kind of rates where you're having to make that kind of decision? And do you willingly take that kind of load?
I try not to, and it's always at the last minute when I have a dispatcher that's doing it for me because I just sign on to a little carrier. So I'm trying to work things out where I can get, but I've not been doing too bad for my first month there in terms of my overall growth. So I cannot complain, but that's just my opinion about that stuff. And I know Scott's got something to say.
I don't know, Scott. You got something you want to add to that, my friend?
Well, I'm glad he clarified something. He said he had a dispatcher that's booking his freight. So, like, I was just going to say he should not, like, he still chose to take that load to sit on it for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that was the point I was making. Yeah, we both saw.
You can't. I'm not like ripping on the caller at all. I'm just saying, like,
you
can't say it's a low rate when they're using your trailer as storage and you still took the freight. Like, nobody forces you to put that on your trailer. That is, I'm hoping the caller has the right to say no. You know what I mean?
In all honesty, I was going to bring that up. How often are we faced with that situation where we're told in advance you're going to be sitting on it for a couple of days? How often do we know about this beforehand?
Well, as somebody that books their own freight, the first few questions I ask is, what is the pickup time? What is the delivery date and time? The first 2 questions I ask are those 2 questions.
Exactly.
You know, to be honest, rate isn't even discussed until probably the 6th or 7th question. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the mileage, the time, the in date, the out date, then it's okay. For that, we'll do X. What say you, caller?
Going to be one better one stuff is when you get a multi-stop, or it doesn't state that it's a multi-stop until you go on. Then you go on. They say, okay, it's for $1,500 going from Cincinnati to Omaha, Nebraska, but it's got 8 stops in there, but they want you to do it for $1,500. So that right there is like you're taking up pretty much a good chunk of your weeks if you're only doing it for $1,500 if you end up taking that rate.
Right, but how many of those stops?
Negotiate.
How many of those stops do you know about before you sign the rate con and send it back, though? Do you know about all of them?
Well, that's when you start asking, or if you see in there where it says, okay, it goes from here to here, but then you start looking and you see, okay, there's another stop here, then you start looking down and, you drop down 500 miles down into Arkansas, then you go back up again, backing up into Missouri and
Yeah.
Nebraska.
You've got 2 types of brokers I'm familiar with. Okay, you know what those 2 are? And I'm going to sound racist here in a minute. Okay, you got your honest brokers, and then you got your Russian ones. The Russian ones wait until you actually sign the rate con and say, oh, by the way, I want 4 more stops in there. I'm joking, by the way. No, but in all seriousness, you've got your honest ones, you got your dishonest ones. And the ones that are honest will tell you all about it up front. There's 8 stops. It's 500 miles. It's going to take you 3 days, and we'll pay you X. Then you've got the ones that don't care. They tell you it's the start city to end city, and they make you figure it out in the middle. And those people you need to stay the hell away from. Those ones you don't need. Go ahead, Faye.
So what the caller is explaining right now, like in my mind, is absolutely worthless. Like I guess yes, that would be cheap freight. Tell Poet to mute his mic. Mute your mic, Poet.
Yeah, you guys, when you're
mute
back,
your mic, Poet.
You have to mute your mic. He's done. He's good.
What he's talking about is cheap. Like, but here's the other thing. If you get a Raycon and you book a load for 2 stops and all of a sudden they put 4 or 5 stops on you, your Raycon now is null and void because it is a Raycon is a contract from point A to point B.
It's changed, it's no longer void.
If it changes it all in there, it's a null and void Raycon. What that caller is talking, like personally, what that caller just talked about is something that wouldn't go on my truck. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe he's in a position where that has to be put on his truck. Then I could see the argument for cheap rates. You know what I mean? Like everything he explained is
good point, Faye. Those watching, if you get that kind of rate con, put in the comments, would you take a load like that? If you're told it's start city, end city, and all of a sudden in the middle they change it, what are you going to do? Tell me in the comments. I want to tell you.
I'll share one more thing. I haul a lot of multi-stop loads, anywhere from 4 to 10, 11 stops.
Solidarity with our
I have gotten very.
All right, truck drivers, the time is now for us to come together and go on strike as well.
A truck driver perspective, this would be a perfect time to go along with the strike.
Can our fellow truckers get a raise with the port strike? We need to be talking to the American Truck Association, our brokers, and our companies.
Technical problem. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to simplify the screen, and everything just went nuts on me. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, keep going.
So I don't know how to explain this. I haul a lot of this style of freight, and I've gotten very good at talking to the brokers that have this style of freight. I run the exact same lane, right? Like very seldom am I working off the spot market and have to find all these loads. I think a lot of people that talk about cheap freight, a lot of their business is built solely on the spot market. Somebody that's been in the industry 25 years, 26 years like I am, knows that the spot market isn't designed for every single load. It's designed to get you back to your money load. That's how it's always been. But yeah, if you're booking multi-stop freight, the average rail got
Rail
what
got
they
what they wanted with the strike. Poor workers got what they wanted. We will never get what we want. 10 drivers driving in protest will do nothing. He's making a very valid point there. I salute him. He makes a very valid point.
Well, that's the benefit of not being in a union. I don't probably want the same thing as his name, Alex. You know what I mean? I probably don't want the same thing as what Alex wants. If I was in the union, my voice wouldn't matter because it would be even if the majority's voice is what matters in a union. You know what I mean? That the majority's voice is what counts.
See, you either want the benefit of doing what the majority says, or you want the benefit of doing what's best for you. So you have to ask yourself, what's in it? What do you want? Do you want what's in it for you, or do you want what's in it for everyone around you? That's where the whole crux of this thing. Now, these people coming out and going to New Orleans, and I think there's another, I'm staring at an article right now about people out of South Charleston doing the same crap, you know?
Grumpy.
I mean, everybody all over the place. Say again? Caller, go ahead.
No, I said Grumpy has something.
I'll get off here and stuff and everything, but you guys have a good evening and everything.
Well, I appreciate you calling.
Hey, sir, hold on. Can I talk to the guy real quick?
Yeah. Wait. Fate has something to add to you, my friend. Go ahead, Fate.
Please keep calling in because that is you're making me look at something differently, even though I'm not in the same shoes. You're making me look at something differently, which is highly important to me because I sometimes get on my little soapbox and think everything is wonderful, and I don't hear the other side because I don't live the other side, if that makes sense. So thank you for calling in.
Well, if that's the case, we'll just get your carrier to beat you with the Nerf bats up on YouTube just where everybody get a laugh.
What's his name?
What did you say your name was, caller?
Fate.
Chris?
Fate.
Yeah, Griff.
Griff USMC. Okay.
I like giving Fate a lot of hard times up and everything. So.
Well, we appreciate you contributing to the show. My friend, you call us anytime you have something to offer. You leave in comments, whether you're calling. We are here for you, my friend. Thank you for calling.
Fate.
Thank you, guys.
Fate.
All right. I appreciate you calling. Thank you. Keep it rolling, my friend. You wanted to add something, Grumpy? Go ahead, my friend.
Fate, what you said counts for me as well. Other than my venture into being an owner-operator when I was 21, I've always been a company guy, okay? Always. It's where I feel most comfortable, okay? And what you're saying is true.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Some of us are not meant to be in business.
Some of us are, some of us aren't. I totally 100% agree with that.
And
Grumpy,
yep.
Go ahead and offer what you wanted. I know you've been waiting a while.
Well,
Go ahead, man.
I want to put in my 2 cents. You know, these brokers really need to wake up. They don't like to do extra things for free. What makes them think that us drivers out here want to do extra things for free? You know, I mean, me as a company driver, I get extra stop pay whenever I have more than the first where I load at and my last stop. Yep. You know, it's not a whole lot, but I get compensated. And these guys need to figure in and say, okay, we've got 4 stops here. First and last is going to be on your main contract. In between there, we need to pay you extra for doing that. And if it's extra miles, then they need to add that extra mileage on there. But like I said, they're not going to work for free. So why in the hell should we?
Can I talk about that real quick?
Go ahead, Vince. Go ahead.
Because Grumpy, you're 100% right. That's what I do. Anytime I run multiple stops, right? I get paid $75 per stop, between $50 and $75 per stop. But it doesn't include the first stop and the last stop. Because the first stop and last stop is A to Z, right? And then you have all the other letters in the middle. So when you're booking multi-stop freight, if it's more than 2 stops, is that a dog or a cat?
Yeah, that's Bo.
Oh, it's a dog.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cat. Sorry, Thumper. Thumper don't look like a cat guy. But I'm glad you brought that up, Grumpy, because that's something a lot of people don't know. And just kind of if you're running multi-stops, like the average is between $50 and $75 a stop. And a broker should have no problem when you mention that, hey, the average on multi-stops is $60 a stop, right? He or she probably won't argue with you on that. And if they do, don't take the load. Like,
that's right.
It's that simple. Don't take the load. You are paid for your time. You 100% should be. I run a lot of multi-stops that if they don't get done on like Thursdays, well, you're going to pay me $375 layover pay to get loads off on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I never would sit over the weekend, but yeah, if I sit for a day, you know what I mean? Or not a day, half a day or whatever, you're paying me for that. And if the broker doesn't want to, I don't have to work with them and I don't work with them.
Yeah. Precisely.
There's a lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget that kind of thing. I mean, I've been in a number of situations where you take a load that's like maybe it's offered on a Wednesday and they think you'll be able to get it off by Friday, but guess what? Something happens. You get a delay or you get maybe it takes longer loading at one place and you just can't get that last leg of it off on Friday and you're stuck waiting until Monday. So, what do you do then? Any thoughts there? I mean, what do you do?
Isn't that
what would I do?
Isn't that the same thing as giving up 2 hours on the front end of the load and on the back end of the load where you're giving up 4 hours of unpaid time, okay? And now you have multiple stops in between. Sometimes you have to
but what I'm talking right, but what I'm talking about is stuff you already know up front. It's like Faith said, okay, we know in advance when we see the rate con in front of us what we're getting. 8 stops, 6 stops, 2 stops, whatever it is. Right.
Okay.
But most people, they factor in these loads, they know exactly how long each stop takes. Like most of the loads that Faith and John do, they're all, okay, a couple hours or an hour or whatever, whatever, because you already know temperatures, locations, people, load, labor, that kind of thing. But, sometimes like what I do, it's different because what I do, I have to count on other variables. Like labor may not be right there. I may have to wait on someone to show up. So all it takes is one hiccup with me and I could be waiting until Monday, And like you say, Faith, you don't want to wait until, but, sometimes I can't help it. And I accept it, but it's not part of the program.
Why should we, as truckers, operators, lease operators, or company drivers, why do we have to eat that crap and give
sometimes
away free time?
Sometimes we do, but the point I'm making is in what you're talking about, whether it's taking a load and you're seeing it, if you see it on paper in front of you, know exactly what that possibility means. Like they said, sometimes you get it, that's cut and dry, you get done. Sometimes it'll go from Thursday to Friday, but other times maybe it'll go from Friday into the weekend. You don't know, but just knowing in advance what you're dealing with, that's 100% you. It's not, they when they send it to you, they have no culpability in that. They're sending you what they're sending you. It's up to you to accept it.
Company drivers don't see those contracts, and company drivers, as a rule, don't have a choice. Driving a company truck.
Well, they're not paid. They're not paid to the capacity that they have any choice. They're just sent what they're sent. Now, people like Faith, people like myself, when people like John, we have the responsibility of making that call. We see that rate, we have to make that decision. A company driver don't have to. A company driver's going to get paid either way.
Mm-mm.
You know, I mean, no, they are.
No, he don't.
They are.
No, he don't.
They are. If I sit as a company driver, poet, if I sit, I'm paid for it. That's part of my contract.
You have a different contract than what we do up in Canada, but that's okay.
Thank you. Point proven. That's the point I'm making. You know what your contract is. Same thing with what Fate pointed out earlier. You know what it is. You accept it. You know it. Go ahead, Grumpy.
As company driver, I've done a lot, and some places this place I work for, technically I have a choice. If they send me a load and I don't want to take it, they're not going to force me to take it. Even though I'm company, I don't have to really take it.
No.
But I have to have a good reason why I'm not taking it. Now, at most places you're a company driver, you're going to have to take that load whether you want to or not. And you're going to have to accept what they pay you on it. There's no way we can look at, the rate cons or anything because we're not allowed to because we work for them. But now someone is like Fate and John, they're going to have rate cons because they're actually running their own equipment, so they're going to want to know this stuff. And when you start factoring in detention time and layover time and stuff like that, if it happens, they're going to have to be compensated. I mean, now there's going to happen where there's traffic and stuff like that. You're not going to be able to get through, which is to be expected. Sometimes delays happen. But if it's something that's caused from a shipper or receiver, that's something we can't prevent.
True. Very true. Couple of comments I want to highlight. In Rookie Trucker says, it depends on a repeat broker if I work with all the time or not. I would also negotiate with them that I'm doing them a favor, even considering negotiating at that point. Well, that's always fine, but until you get it on paper, you can renegotiate all you want, and it means nothing until you actually get it signed. So I don't know if you guys want to disagree with that or not, but he makes a good point.
That's not the way it works up here.
Yep. 7C, great that you joined us. Glad you were part of the show. Don't know the name, but you got some digging deeper. I don't know. Save the livestock. Probably related to what you were talking about. Oh, okay. All right. Wasn't sure, but I thought I'd query you about that. All right. So is that the link you were talking about?
Yes, that's the link that I'm talking about where that family needs help up in Wyoming.
Good show. Good to know. All right. Got flies getting into my coffee. Get out of my coffee. Anyway, guys, I mean, any last thoughts on ways to negotiate, keep these brokers honest? What do you want to, anybody want to add something? Go ahead, Larry. You don't have to wave, just say something. Boy?
Well, don't people realize whenever they look at a company and they say forced dispatch, they have no choice.
That's right.
Well, yeah, forced dispatch does do a lot, but
my company that I drive for, even though I'm a lease guy, it's forced dispatch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what does that to you mean? What does that mean to you?
It means I'm moving.
Well, no, when you're presented a load, with the words forced dispatch, does that mean you have the right to turn anything down?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I have to take every load that comes across because that requires either that or you're going to see it.
Okay.
Forced dispatch means here's the load, there's your destination. We're going to tell you how you're going to get to your destination. Don't be late.
Fate, I'm going to get to you in a second. Let me ask you one important question, and maybe I'm dogging you, Fate. I don't know. But let me ask you this, Larry. What sense does it make to have a, quote, forced dispatch when you're paying a lease on a truck?
Because it's not my truck yet.
Okay. Fate, you can have him. You can have him. I'm sorry, I'm done.
Get him, Fate. Get him.
Technically, he's a company driver till that truck is paid for, and then it's his truck.
Yeah, he's a glorified company driver.
Exactly, but he has to pay for everything for the truck.
Maybe.
Yell, let Fake tear him up. That's all I'm gonna say. Just let him tear him up.
Skid him. Skid him.
No, I'm not going to tear him up. Absolutely not. Why am I not going to tear him up? Because he's a grown man that made a decision. He has to live with that decision. I'm not going to tear him up. I think the biggest problem that trucking has is people, whether you're a lease operator, an owner operator, a company driver, renting a truck, the biggest problem in this industry is people do things for the weirdest reasons that don't make sense to others people, and then they fucking
don't worry,
I am
keep
so
going.
sorry.
No, keep going. Don't sweat
I'm
it.
so sorry.
We're too late into it to worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Then they complain about it. I'm going to say this about Larry. I have never heard Larry complain. No, I just said that. I've never heard you complain. Ever.
No.
I go
never
from
heard you
California to New York to New Jersey. So what do I have to complain about?
Exactly.
No, I'm like I said, I'm not saying you're complaining. I find it I don't know your situation. If you are responsible for everything on that truck, maybe you're not, maybe you're just responsible for the fuel. Like that's a tough position to be in, man, where you can't.
I'm responsible for the fuel, the reefer, the product, everything. My company has they own the trucks, but we operate it. It's on me if the truck makes money or not.
So Larry,
it's not on you. It's on your company. It's on your company.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to be rude to you. It's on your company.
It's like you said. If I'm sitting here and I tell them no, I don't want to go to New York City, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to leave me sitting for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Or
they're basically going to punish him.
That's 3 or 4 days I could be making money, right?
Yeah.
So
Larry, are you a lease op? Are you an owner op? Are you a company driver? How do you classify yourself?
I'm a glorified company driver that pays all the expenses.
Well, there's got to be a sensible option. I mean, you're either a company driver or you're a lease operator. There's one of the two.
My name's on the lease contract that I signed when I started here.
Okay.
It goes back to the first question I asked you many lives ago. When you get done with the whole thing, do you own the truck or do you own just a contract?
No, but I chose to do it this way, where every 3 years I get a brand new truck.
Yeah.
When?
I don't have any desires to actually own the vehicle unless I could buy the truck outright.
Right.
Okay.
If you want to stay with the company afterwards, you got to go somewhere else.
When is that going to happen, Larry?
When someone gives me $56,000 to buy a cab over.
Yeah.
So now we're right back into the bullshit of the. Hang on. We're right back into the bullshit of the 1970s, where as a lease operator, you were working on a never plan.
I never planned on owning this truck or any of these trucks here.
Hence the word never.
There is a means to my madness right now.
So why did you?
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. People.
Yes.
I'm the only one on this panel that has the claim to fame to make that statement. I am the only one that can actually say I have a method to my madness. You people have no right taking that from me. Sorry. I will not let you do that. You will not do that to me.
God damn it.
now that my contract is working, right? Yes, I said it that way. People, I'm telling you. It don't matter what you do. You guys, you have a hell of a load in front of you. Make sure, if you want the dependable news given you, if you want it straight, you tune in right here. Follow Fate, follow Grumpy, follow Driving with John. All of us here, we look at you guys. You guys get it straight here. Subscribe, like us. We are looking out for you guys. Keep it rolling. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just keep it rolling.